I felt lost in the fog of my own life. Each day blurred into the next, a monotonous cycle of unfulfilled dreams and fading hopes. My reflection in the mirror each morning served as a harsh reminder of my stagnant existence. I yearned for change, for something, anything, to pull me from the depths of despair.
One dreary afternoon, as Lena wandered aimlessly through the cobblestone streets, a flickering gas lamp caught her eye. The shopkeeper, a stooped figure shrouded in shadow, acknowledged her presence with a barely perceptible nod. His demeanor was enigmatic, almost as if he was guarding secrets that the shop held within its walls. The dim lighting cast long shadows, adding to the mysterious aura that enveloped the place. Every corner seemed to whisper tales of the past, and the air was thick with the scent of aged wood and forgotten memories. His eyes, gleaming with an unsettling intensity, seemed to follow her every move. It was as if he could see right through her, reading her thoughts and emotions. The intensity of his gaze made her feel exposed, vulnerable, and yet inexplicably drawn to explore further. There was something about his presence that was both unnerving and compelling, urging her to delve deeper into the mysteries of the shop.
I felt a tremor of unease, trying to shake off the strange feeling that had settled upon me. The shop was filled with an eclectic mix of items, each with its own story to tell. As I wandered through the narrow aisles, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, not just by the shopkeeper, but by the very objects themselves. It was as if they were alive, silently observing my every move.
As she turned a corner, her gaze fell upon an ornately framed mirror tucked away in a dimly lit corner. The mirror stood out amidst the clutter, its frame intricately carved with designs that seemed to dance in the flickering light. It was as if the mirror had a life of its own, beckoning her to come closer and uncover its secrets. The allure of the mirror was irresistible, drawing her in with an almost magnetic pull. Unlike the other dusty and forgotten objects in the shop, the mirror seemed to pulsate with an eerie life of its own. It emitted a faint, otherworldly glow that set it apart from everything else. The light seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat, creating an almost hypnotic effect. She couldn't tear her eyes away from it, captivated by the strange energy that emanated from its surface. Its silver surface, etched with strange symbols, was oddly alluring. The symbols seemed to shift and change as she looked at them, creating an almost mesmerizing pattern. She felt a strange connection to the mirror, as if it was calling out to her, urging her to uncover its mysteries. The more she looked, the deeper she was drawn into its enigmatic allure.
I was compelled by an unknown force, drawn towards the mirror. As I stepped closer, the air grew heavy, charged with an almost electric energy. It was as if the very atmosphere around the mirror was alive, pulsating with a power that I couldn't comprehend. My heart raced, and my breath quickened as I reached out to touch the mirror's surface. The moment my fingers brushed against it, a jolt of energy shot through me, leaving me breathless and trembling. A shiver ran down my spine, sending goosebumps erupting across my skin. The sensation was both exhilarating and terrifying, as if I had tapped into a force beyond my understanding. I could feel the mirror's power coursing through me, filling me with a sense of awe and wonder. It was a moment of profound connection, a glimpse into a world that lay just beyond the veil of reality.
Lena hesitated for a moment, a flicker of doubt crossing her mind, but the pull of the mirror was too strong to resist. She knew that she was on the brink of discovering something extraordinary, something that could change her life forever. With a deep breath, she steeled herself and stepped closer to the mirror, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. The journey into the unknown had begun, and there was no turning back. Raising her hand, Lena reached out towards the cool glass. She hesitated for a moment, her fingers trembling slightly as they hovered just inches away from the reflective surface. The room around her seemed to fade into the background, the mirror drawing her in with an almost magnetic pull. She could feel her heartbeat quicken, each thump echoing in her ears as if urging her to make contact. The air felt charged, heavy with anticipation, as if the mirror held secrets waiting to be unveiled. The moment her fingers made contact, a jolt surged through her body, a strange mix of fear and exhilaration. It was as if the mirror had come alive, responding to her touch with an electric energy that coursed through her veins. Lena's breath caught in her throat, her eyes widening in shock and wonder. She felt a connection, an inexplicable bond with the mirror, as if it was a portal to another world, a world where anything was possible. The reflection staring back at her was no longer her own, but a stranger's, a woman who seemed both familiar and unknown. This woman had an air of mystery, her eyes holding secrets that Lena could only guess at. She was captivating, her presence commanding attention in a way that Lena had never experienced. It was as if the mirror was showing her a version of herself that she had never known, a version that was both intriguing and unsettling.
She was everything I longed to be, confident, successful, and loved. This woman exuded a sense of self-assurance that I had always envied. She moved through life with a grace and ease that seemed effortless, her every action radiating confidence. She was surrounded by admirers, people who looked up to her and sought her approval. It was a life that I had always dreamed of, but had never been able to attain. She moved with an effortless grace that I envied, her eyes sparkling with a vibrancy that had long faded from my own. Every step she took was filled with purpose, every gesture deliberate and meaningful. Her presence was magnetic, drawing people to her like moths to a flame. I watched her, mesmerized, wishing that I could capture even a fraction of that confidence and vitality. It was as if she held the key to a life that I had always wanted, but had never been able to unlock.
For a fleeting moment, Lena felt a surge of hope, a desperate longing to break free from the shackles of her own mediocrity. She wondered if the mirror was showing her a glimpse of what could be, a tantalizing vision of a future that was within her grasp. The reflection seemed to whisper to her, urging her to take a chance, to step out of her comfort zone and embrace the unknown. It was a call to action, a challenge to become the person she had always wanted to be. The vision in the mirror shifted, the scene dissolving into a kaleidoscope of images that flickered past too quickly for Lena to grasp. Each image was a fragment of a life that seemed just out of reach, a tantalizing glimpse of possibilities that left her yearning for more. The colors swirled and blended, creating a mesmerizing tapestry of dreams and desires. It was as if the mirror was showing her the many paths her life could take, each one more enticing than the last. Disjointed fragments of a life she could only dream of, luxurious parties, passionate embraces, exotic travels. Each scene was a snapshot of a world that was both alluring and unattainable. She saw herself mingling with elegant guests at opulent gatherings, sharing intimate moments with a lover, and exploring far-off lands filled with wonder and adventure. It was a life of excitement and fulfillment, a stark contrast to the mundane existence she had known. Each image, though fleeting, served to intensify Lena's longing for a life less ordinary. She felt a deep ache in her chest, a yearning that seemed to grow with each passing moment. The mirror had shown her a world of endless possibilities, a world where she could be anything she wanted to be. It was a powerful reminder of the dreams she had once held dear, dreams that had been buried under the weight of everyday life. As the images faded, Lena was left with a renewed sense of determination, a burning desire to break free from the confines of her current reality and pursue the life she had always wanted. As quickly as it began, the vision faded, leaving Lena standing in the dimly lit shop, her hands still resting on the cool glass of the mirror. The room, once filled with a mystical glow, now seemed to swallow the light, casting long shadows that danced eerily on the walls. Lena's breath was shallow, her mind racing to grasp the fleeting images that had just played before her eyes. She felt a strange connection to the mirror, as if it had whispered secrets only she could understand. The air, thick with anticipation moments before, now felt strangely empty. The shop, filled with relics of the past, seemed to hold its breath, waiting for something to break the silence. Lena's heart pounded in her chest, the echo of the vision still reverberating in her mind. She felt a sense of loss, as if something precious had slipped through her fingers.
I stared at my reflection, the familiar feeling of disappointment washing over me as I acknowledged the vast chasm between the life I desired and the reality I inhabited. The mirror seemed to mock me, reflecting not just my image, but the unfulfilled dreams and aspirations that haunted my every waking moment. I could see the lines of worry etched on my face, the shadows under my eyes, and the weight of unspoken regrets that I carried with me.
The shopkeeper, his presence barely acknowledged until this point, chose this moment to emerge from the shadows. His movements were slow and deliberate, as if he had all the time in the world. The dim light cast an eerie glow on his face, highlighting the deep lines and the intensity of his gaze. He seemed to carry an air of mystery, a sense of knowing that made Lena's skin prickle with unease. His voice, a raspy whisper that seemed to slither through the air, sent a shiver down Lena's spine. "The mirror," he began, his words hanging in the air like a dark promise. "It shows you what you desire most." Lena's eyes widened, her mind racing to comprehend the implications of his statement. The shopkeeper's gaze never wavered, his eyes boring into hers with an intensity that made her feel exposed, as if he could see into the depths of her soul.
The mirror, it shows you what you desire most, what you would sacrifice everything to possess. His words were like a key, unlocking a door within Lena's mind that she had kept tightly shut. She felt a surge of emotions, a mix of fear and longing that threatened to overwhelm her. The mirror surface seemed to shimmer, reflecting not just her image, but the deepest desires of her heart, what you would sacrifice everything to possess. The weight of his words settled heavily on Lena's shoulders. She thought of all the sacrifices she had made, the dreams she had put on hold, and the life she had always yearned for. The mirror seemed to offer a glimmer of hope, a promise of something more, something beyond the mundane existence she had come to accept.
His words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken promises and veiled threats. Lena felt a chill run down her spine, the weight of his gaze pressing down on her. She knew that the mirror held power, a power that could change her life forever, but with that power came a price she wasn't sure she was willing to pay. The shopkeeper's eyes seemed to gleam with a knowing light, as if he could see the turmoil within her. Lena, her heart pounding in her chest, found herself both terrified and strangely exhilarated by his words. The possibilities that the mirror presented were endless, but so were the risks. She felt a surge of adrenaline, a mix of fear and excitement that made her feel alive in a way she hadn't felt in years. The shopkeeper's presence, the dim light and the eerie silence of the shop all seemed to amplify her emotions, making her feel as if she were standing on the edge of a precipice. The encounter had awakened something within her, a flicker of hope in the face of her own despair. She felt a renewed sense of purpose, a determination to seize the opportunity that the mirror presented. The darkness of the shop seemed to recede, replaced by a glimmer of light that shone from within her. Lena knew that she had been given a chance to change her life and fulfill her deepest desires. She knew, with a certainty that defied logic, that she had stumbled upon something extraordinary, something that had the power to change everything. The mirror was more than just a reflection of her desires. It was a gateway to a new reality, a reality where her dreams could come true. Lena felt a sense of resolve, a determination to embrace the unknown and take the leap of faith that the mirror demanded. She knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but she was ready to face them, armed with the hope and promise that the mirror had awakened within her.